The main problem with Great Expectations is it's 542 pages too long. I started reading this book for my GCSEs and I've literally just finished. After seeing the recent telly show, a lot of people have been saying they want to go back and read the original. Well, I'm here to read out my much shorter, much better version to save you all the bother. Get to the Ruddy point. Let's start by talking about the title. Now, it's actually a very good title. What Charles Dickens has done here is very, very clever. He's thought to himself, how can I get people to have great expectations about reading my book? Call it Great Expectations. It's very clever, but personally I go one step further. I'd call it good book. Let's hop in and have a look at the opening sentence. My father's family name being Pirrip and my Christian name Philip, my infant tongue could make of both names nothing longer or more explicit than Pip. So what Dickens is doing here is he's setting up this character as being extremely dislikable because he's so thick he can't pronounce his own name. His parents, however, come across as very likeable. They've obviously got a wonderful sense of humour, calling their son Philip Pirrip, okay? And we actually get the first twist of the novel here on page 1, when we find out his funny parents are actually dead. Now, although I would recommend putting a twist on every page of your novel, I think this is Dickens' first mistake of the book, killing off funny characters too early. For me, what I would have done if I wrote this book, and I have, is I would make his funny parents crack a couple of jokes and then die. And that way, we get the best of both worlds. But the book's just way too long. I mean, this is how long the book should have been, okay? And this is the list of characters. I'm sorry, Charles, you're scraping the barrel with people like Mr. Wopsle's great aunt. There's only 3 characters in this book worth talking about. Ugly boy, pretty girl, weird lady. The other thing I get rid of in this book is London. Okay, it's all a bit like, oh, now we're in Kent, now we're in London, and we've got to keep travelling in between, which takes up precious time. Personally, I set it somewhere in between, maybe Croydon. The next thing that happens in the book is Pip meets this wonderful lady called Miss Havisham. Now, Miss Havisham is a brilliant character because we all know a Miss Havisham. She stopped all her clocks at the exact time her boyfriend dumped her. She has plates of rotting food left out from her actual wedding day. She only wears a wedding dress and she hasn't gone outside for 20 years. She's your classic mum's weird friend. And she's the hero of the piece because she pays Pip to play with the prettiest girl in the world. Now, this is where Dickens makes his second big mistake. He has Pip start crying when this girl starts bullying him, but it's just not believable. I'm sorry, Charles, if I got a tenor to play Monopoly with a young Carol Vorderman, I'd let her push me about a bit. The next 400 pages are pretty boring and can be deleted in their entirety. Then a couple more twists, a bit of slapstick as Miss Havisham sets herself on fire. Then Pip goes off to Egypt for 11 years, comes home, sees the prettiest girl in the world again, and they hold hands for a bit in a field. And that is literally the end. It's not even clear if they get kissy or not, and that's the only reason I picked up the Ruddy book in the first place. I want to know if they kissed. And you'll see in my version, I made it pretty clear either way. One more thing I did just to speed up the plot a bit. In the original book, it's all like 4 years later this, 10 years later that. What I've done is I've just trimmed that down ever so slightly and I've turned years into minutes. So here we go with my version of this sorry little tale. Good book. By Christopher Bliss. Hello, my name's Pip, and I'm a thick 7-year-old that can't pronounce his own name. I live on the outskirts of Croydon and hope to one day move slightly closer in to the centre of Croydon. My funny parents loved playing pranks, like making my full name a drama school level tongue twister. Looky here, Philip Pirrip. Me and your silly mother have tied each other's shoelaces together again. But then they both tripped up and they died. 2 minutes later, my mum's weird friend paid me to play with the prettiest girl in the world. What the hell, I said as she entered the room. You should be on countdown. Thanks, she said. Then she spat on me and pushed me down the stairs, but I didn't mind one bit. 7 minutes later, I moved to the centre of Croydon. Now will you give me a kissy? No, she said. Then she gave me a Chinese burn and threw a brick at my head, but I didn't mind one bit. I enjoyed Croydon town centre for about 10 minutes, but then spent all my money and felt rubbish. Then I flew to Egypt for 11 minutes. After all my travels, I realised the one place I truly belong is the outskirts of Croydon. So I went back home and saw the pretty girl there, but she wasn't the same. It turns out she'd actually had a very difficult 21 minutes. Please, can we do a kiss now? I asked. Yeah, all right, fine, she said. And then we started absolutely going for it in a field. And I didn't mind one bit. I guess it just goes to show, if you want to kiss someone prettier than you, wait till they're sad and their standards will drop. Get to the Ruddy point.